Hi Aquarius and Aquarius Rising, here is your horoscope for May 2025. I'm Astrologer Joseph Anthony. All right, we have some better energy coming in the next few months. This is because we don't have any planets in retrograde. Unfortunately, there will be one that goes retrograde this month, and that will be Pluto, which is in your sign. So if you're an Aquarius rising or if you are a sun sign Aquarius, this is a very general sun sign overview using Western tropical whole house system. Everything here is very basic because your birth chart is completely different and everyone's birthday under the sign is completely different. But it'll give you an overview of what kind of energy is at play this month so you could focus your attention on those areas. Now, getting back to this Pluto going retrograde, Pluto is about transformation. And since Pluto entered Aquarius, now is going to stay there until like 2043 or so, you're going to go through this massive change in identity, in your appearance, how others see you. And that continues. That path will continue all the way till 2043 or so. But when it goes retrograde, which is usually 5.5 months to 6 months out of the year, you go within and you internalize and you dialogue and you contemplate and you figure out what it is that you've done from the past. Now, your sign is really not about the past. It is about the future. And so you find yourself at a crossroads this month. And one of the things that I do see here for many of you is a lot of overthinking. And this is very common with Aquarius. Aquarius is a very highly intelligent sign where its mind is constantly racing. So there is this absolute energy that's going to activate this first house of identity and self. But when we look at the third house in astrology, this is the house of communication. So we have Venus there, we have Neptune there that just entered it, Mercury there, and Chiron, all in Aries, which represents the self. So there's self-preservation, self-awareness, self-reliance. This is all the energy that is coming in this month. And lots of communication. One way or another, there's tons of communication taking place for many of you, okay? Now, towards the end of the month, your co-ruler or your ancient ruler, which was Saturn, before we discovered Uranus, the astrologers used to use Saturn, and that's going to be switching signs as well and going into this third house. So there's a lot of activity here, a lot of contemplation and restriction and trying to figure things out. Now, the other thing that it could pertain is traveling, short-term traveling, writing, self-expression in some way in a written form or in a video form, whatever floats your boat. This is going to be highlighted as well. Now, we start off the month with with the sun going through Taurus. And you see your ruler, Uranus, is also in Taurus. And this is the fourth house of home, feeling, and foundation. And so many of the things you'll be thinking about or talking about are going to pertain to your childhood, memories from the past, dealing with family issues, anything to do with real estate or moving, buying real estate, selling real estate. All of that is on the table. But this is the house that has to do with a lot of emotions and feelings. So you may be dealing with that. Maybe they're not your own. Maybe you're dealing with a child. Maybe you're dealing with somebody else in your life. You see? So that's what it represents symbolically as the sun makes its way through the fourth house. And so we start off the month here with this Venus in Aries, and it just entered it. Now, Venus and Mercury have been retrograde, and this is what's been dragging us down energy-wise. And now that they're both moving direct, we have Venus going through Aries. Aries is the self. Aries is about impulsiveness. Aries is about self-reflection on some level. And Venus is about partnerships. So there's a strong need to communicate with partners, people who will listen, impulsive in terms of relationships, whether it's business or pleasure. You're impulsive to get something done. And so for the next 5.5 weeks or so, Venus will continue to make its way through this third house. But it will conjunct exactly on the 2nd into the 3rd, Venus will conjunct Neptune, which means that, a relationship or a situation that involves another or conversing with another about some major change in your life or in their life, or you're just appreciating life in general, because Venus and Neptune both represent sort of a higher love. And so here we see either a relationship or an important communication with someone else about their lives and how, they need to transform it. Or it could be a mystical time, where you're seeking more spirituality or more religion if you're religious. And this could also mean dissolving relationships. Neptune has the tendency to dissolve matters. And so maybe there's a relationship that's run its course and it's time to move on. That kind of energy is what I'm seeing here. And the other thing that it could possibly be is a very strong creative endeavor here. Venus and Neptune getting together in Aries could be a very new and exciting creative endeavor, such as artistic or being creative in any way you see fit. Which could either involve writing a book or, taking an adventure, taking a short travel somewhere. So as we begin the month, this is all on the table for many of you. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, here's that Pluto going retrograde. It'll start off on the 4th, and it'll be retrograde, I believe, all the way until the end of October. And so here it is in stationary position. And I've already talked about this, but again, it's a time of inner self-reflecting. Pluto is the sign of death and rebirth. So you're going through another crossroads. And especially in July, when Uranus, your ruler, leaves Taurus and goes into Gemini. So you're preparing or you're sensing some massive change that's on the horizon for many of you. And this is what I mean by going within. You're contemplating your next endeavor. You're contemplating how you fit into this. Do you need to move? Do you need to change jobs? Is this relationship you're in right now with your significant other, with your business, whatever you're involved in, is it the right place? So you'll be questioning all of this during the Pluto retrograde. Totally normal. Okay? So keep that in mind. Mercury enters Taurus. Now we have Mercury going into a slower sign, slowing things down, asking you to get back to the basics. And this again has to do with feelings, home, foundation. It has to do with emotions. And so this is going to be the theme for the next 3 weeks as Mercury makes its way through that part of your chart. Now, of course, the full moon this month is going to be an intense Scorpio. So this is going to be up in the 10th house of career at 22 degrees. It'll be opposing the sun and Uranus. They'll be very closely aligned. So you're going to be questioning, are you in the right occupation? Is this what you want to continue doing? Do you want to switch jobs? Do you want to move? These are all the themes with this full moon. Something is going to be coming to light. And it's a realization. Full moons bring in realizations. And this is Scorpio energy, which is also about transformation of some kind. So you may be making a decision around this time. It's time for me to move on. It's time for me to change jobs. It's time for me to, do something with my home life. It's time for me to renovate, whatever, So again, but this is in the career house, how others see you. So there's definitely a lot of change taking place up in that house. Now, the sun conjunct Uranus is a total wild card because Uranus is your ruler. Here's the sun. This is a very creative time for many of you, especially around the home. You might find yourself very fastidious. You might find yourself changing things around in the home. You might find yourself traveling somewhere or returning to childhood places that you grew up in. Whatever it is, it's about breaking free also. So it's a creative alignment, but it's also about breaking free, breaking boundaries and breaking out of the comfort zone. And that's what this energy looks like here with this conjunction on the 17th and 18th. Now, the sun enters Gemini on the 20th and 21st right there, entering the 5th house. Now, this is a very creative time for many of you. Gemini is an air sign like yours. So once again, the need for communication goes through the roof. So for many of you, you're going to be feeling a lot of communication in your life. The entire month, really, because of the 3rd house being active. But now the 5th house is being active. So creative endeavors, having more fun, being more playful, starting creative projects. And so this is all going to be the theme as the sun makes its way through Gemini. And the energy looks pretty good. Like I said, the next couple of months looks really good. There's nothing holding you back. There are no retrograde planets except for Pluto right there, which should not slow you down. Now, on the 24th and 25th, Saturn enters that 3rd house. There it is right there. Now, Saturn traditionally represents restriction, boundaries and, restructuring things, because Saturn is not an easy planet. It wants you to do things, but it does them the hard way. Let's put it that way. And now it enters Aries in the third house of communication. So you might find yourself withdrawing in some way mentally or communication-wise, or trying to restructure how you interact with other people or how you express yourself. You could become more disciplined during this time. Now, this is going to happen over the next 2.5 years, so it's not something that just happens on that day. You begin to feel that energy coming in, like, oh, wow, this feels like I need to be more organized. I need to do this. I need to do that. And so you become much more in tune with something that is sort of restricting your mind. It actually could benefit many of you, because Aquarians have such active minds. And with Saturn there, it could say, let's slow the mind down a little bit. Let's focus on this and focus on that, rather than scattering our energy. So it actually could be quite beneficial for many of you, okay? But see how that unfolds over the next couple of months. Mercury enters Gemini. Talk about, overthinking. Mercury in Gemini loves to overthink. It processes information 100 miles an hour. And so we might find ourselves now being extremely vocal, and communication with family members and friends goes through the roof at this time, especially with the new moon in Gemini. Somebody new comes into your life, a new project. You're feeling much more playful. Gemini energy is very playful. And so you might find yourself just having some fun around people, maybe with children, maybe with animals, whatever floats your boat. This is going to be a very important time. Maybe you're traveling, you're taking some short trips, and you're really enjoying yourself. So the second half of the month really looks good for having more fun. So keep that in mind. Anyway, there is the general overview. If you want to know more, I do an extended horoscope in my Inner Circle community, as you could see here. I also do the weekly astrology, which the members really do enjoy. And so check that out. And of course, I teach a course, a 6-module course there. And, I also do Zoom calls every Sunday, and the members really do enjoy that. And they get to send me their charts and ask questions. And so we have a good time on Sunday. So consider joining. There's a free 7-day trial, so there's really no obligation. You could check it out and see if it's for you. And I left a link down below. Anyway, have a great month, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye for now.